Hi, welcome to another edition of Pauline Interviews. I recently interviewed Robert Zakian. No, I said it wrong again. Zakian. See, I've said it wrong twice. Anyway, Robert is a transpersonal intuitive, and we had so much fun together that I wanted to focus in on one thing now, and it's very interesting. Listen to what Robert says. Oh, once again, we're here at New Renaissance Bookstore. I got to throw that in too, because they're wonderful, and they let us use their facility, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you, New Renaissance, on Northwest 23rd in Portland. Anyway, Robert says, listen to this one, our purpose in life is to be one with God. That's a big, gosh, I don't know.
It's a big Lollapalooza.
It's a big Lollapalooza. Well, but first we want to...
Transpersonal Intuitive.
Yes.
So, Transpersonal Intuitive is one to transcend the false self to the true self.
And we do that by becoming one with God?
We eventually...
How do we do that?
Well, you get rid of the false self, find the true self.
And what is a false self?
False self is the one that has greed, false power, manipulation. That's the false self.
Ego, maybe?
Well, ego can be good too.
Yeah, I was going to say we do
have to have ego. Yeah, we have the I hanging around.
Yeah, we have to have a little bit because that gives us maybe self-confidence or self-worth.
Quite true.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you talk now. Our purpose is to be one with God. How do we accomplish that? First off, what does that mean?
As you said, that is a big question. So, it means that we become one with God, that we know in the deepest part of ourselves that's who we are.
Can we clarify that though? Because a lot of people have different connotations when you say God. Is it one person? Is it an energy? Is it the universe? What is God? That's a big question there.
You know, if I talk about that, it's all intellectual. And in one aspect, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is who you are and where your journey is at this time. So I'm taught, and guides are there, and there are different aspects of guides. I've met them, and I've talked to them, and so on and so forth. But if we look at life, we go through, it's interesting when people want to pass life, right? They're, oh, was I the king? Was I the... Well, no, you're also a jerk. You also...
In a past life.
And you've also harmed people. It's part of the journey. So the journey is, it's like a pendulum. You go from bad to good, and it's like this pendulum swings back and forth, and as it begins to slow down and you experience all these multifaceted aspects of self, then you go inward. So after you go inward, then it's like having different bodies. So you have involution, and you have what they call a subtle body. And again, then you have a mental body. And then the saints actually see God as one, as themselves. And then they cross over, they have to traverse this deep aspect of place, you might say, and know that that's who they are.
How did you learn all this?
Meher Baba.
Yeah, we did talk about that in one of the interviews we did.
Yeah, so, you know, when we're talking about this, you asked about the Western and the Eastern.
The Eastern, right.
So, another part of the journey, being an old soul, at least in this life, I was, in 1972 or so, I was thrown into becoming a head counselor of 18 educably, and they called it that, at that time they called them mentally ill boys, and they were delinquents. And being an ex-hippie at that time, I'd hire people on love. But to make a long story short...
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'd ask them on an interview, so what does love mean to you? Well, geez, if they didn't answer it right, I wouldn't hire them. And here I am, no tools, thrown into becoming a head counselor of this group home, with no skills whatsoever. And eventually, I got burnt out. The counselors that I hired got burnt out, and they turned on me. So first I experienced wonderful praise and then blame. So luckily, I had, prior to all this going on, I had tickets to go to India, because I wanted to go to Meher Baba's ashram. So
you were still on a spiritual journey.
Oh yeah, this spiritual journey started in 1970. And while I'm in India, I'm talking to these Australians, and they're talking about a typhoon happening, and the toilets got clogged up and so on and so forth. And I hear two Westerners, I believe they were Americans, and I have to say these words, all he knows is shit and piss. And now I am totally 100% devastated. How could they say that about me after experiencing praise and blame as a counselor there? So I go to Mayor Baba's tomb and I said, I'm not leaving here until you tell me what this is about. And I literally stayed there for I don't know how long. And he said, well, you got to get rid of praise and blame. Oh.
How do you hear this? Do you hear it in your head? Or?
I heard it in my head at that time.
Okay.
And that meant to be detached without praise and blame. I took that later deeper, which meant to be detached without indifference. People get attached to results. There's three things that people want all the time, every single person, until they get it for themselves. They want to be liked or / loved, but let's go with liked, accepted, or affirmed. So they go outside of themselves for the reflection of who they are. And if they get devastated, they get traumatized or they get hurt feelings or whatever. So that liked, affirmed, accepted, they have to give it to themselves. Once they got it, it does not matter one iota what's being projected upon them.
So what you're saying is you really love yourself. You don't care what's going on around you and how people treat you because you love yourself and that's what's important. That's where the truth is, loving yourself.
Like I said earlier, it's not easy to love yourself, but at least you have goodness. Not to be attached, that's one of them. Not to be attached to the results. Not be the victim. Merge with the child, let go of the father and mother if that's who the predominant in your life. Then you're going to build up this, like goodness builds, it's like building blocks to love. And if you experience it one time, it can never leave. It's there. It's in you. So the reason I do spirit guide stuff is to have people know that they are, one, that they're more than who they are, and they're not alone, and that your guides really care about who you are and your journey.
That makes me feel good too when I heard that there were spirit guides and that you are loved and that the people that they do care about you. So it's a spiritual caring. It's not like a physical, because not everybody grew up with parents that loved and cared about them. We talked about that, how some and their inner child gets hurt and then you
I said they're fragmented, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So when somebody comes to me, they're wanting to know, they're curious, well, what is my purpose? Well, I can intuitively get that, but I said it's more important, instead of a psychic telling you, or an intuitive telling you, it's more important, has much more hold, much more of the benefit that you get it on your own. How do I do that? Well, I take them on a journey. I take them on a journey without bringing up the yuckety stuff. I may say, okay, and sometimes I might get the mother growing up or the father. Let's say it's the mother. Okay, what do you want from your mom that would have satisfied you? Well, I wanted my mom to pay more attention to me. She's always being a goody two-shoe, whatever. What would that do for you that's positive? Then they tell me. And we take it deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh, there's one of the lessons. And of course our parents project their stuff onto us for the first 7 years. Some people say it's longer. We pick up all the stuff that our adult projected on us, both good and bad. And if it's the bad stuff, which is interesting how people hold on to that, then we attract that stuff to us to only reinforce that we're not enough. That's how it works. So once we do that, then I talk about doing a ceremony.
What kind of ceremony would you do?
Well, that I let up to the person.
Okay, there are different ways of doing it.
There are different ways, but I can hint out fire is great.
I was thinking that we're all on a different journey, and we're all there's so many, I don't know how many billions of people are on this planet, but they're all at different levels. So you obviously are an old soul, and I'm a seeker. I don't know how old a soul I am, but I'm a seeker, and I don't know where it comes from. It just...
You have to know right now that you are love. There's nothing else more important than that. Not that you don't know that.
Yeah.
When I sit down with the three of you, that's who you are. To know that that is the spark of who you are, and that's what you need to go after. All the other is bullshit. Excuse my French.
That's
out
okay.
there.
We can say
Okay,
this is
so
YouTube.
nothing matters.
No sponsors.
You have to get rid of the victim. The victim self has to go. And you have to know that you attracted this to yourself, not to be punished, but to learn.
Right.
So you can't, if you're hurt, and it's like my niece, I have to tell you another story.
Okay.
So my niece, she gets pregnant, she's laying in bed with her infant daughter, and the daughter dies.
Oh no, this is true story?
True
I'm
story.
sorry.
So she's in a lot of pain. So she gets pregnant again. Her boyfriend, she drives her boyfriend to work. On the way back, she gets into a car accident, pregnant, and dies.
Oh no. This is
My brother, true story, my brother is in pain. Why couldn't it happen to me? Tremendous suffering.
Yes.
Can you get rid of the suffering? No, it's not easy stuff. However, if you have a spiritual understanding that that soul goes on, it
helps.
It dampens the pain of the tragedy that befalls somebody.
Yes.
That my niece had to go through whatever her past life stuff was. That was part of it.
Yeah. You have to believe that, though, and I do. And sometimes when somebody has something like that, I can't tell them if they don't believe it. So, you know, how do I help them?
Well, you just listen.
Yeah. And you listen intuitively. If you're a seeker and you're trying to find out, these will come. I think it comes to you.
It can.
You attract it to your life. I attract more and more people like this. And I love it. I think it's great.
Why are you attracting someone like me and other people that you're interviewing? Because that's who you are. You're a healer.
I'm putting it out there.
You're putting it out there. That's your journey.
Energy.
That's your journey, right?
Yeah.
That's what you've done in past lives.
Yeah, I really feel that.
And I believe you've done it well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. More and more it's happening to me, and I just love it. It's a passion. You know, you've been around. I mean, by
If
that
I may, before I go into
go
this, this is another important story.
I want you to tell it. No, we're
I'm
here
from
to tell
New York. I can't.
Yeah, that's okay. We're telling.
So I did a past life regression, and this woman winds up in Atlantis. Okay.
You took her back. You
Yeah, she
regressed
went in a group. She went to Atlantis.
her. Yes.
And in Atlantis, she remembered in the water, swimming with sharks and dolphins and fish. There was, and her family was on the beach or whatever, and they're having a good time. The next thing she experiences, things falling from the sky. So I'll say, okay, what's the next significant experience? So she got that she was supposed to, and people were, on one of these rocks were falling, people were scared and they were running all over the place. A lot of fear.
Yeah.
So her journey was to take people to safety in a plane. And the plane was a lot different than what we have now because the air was different. She dies. So I take her to the last day of her life. And I said, how did you feel about that lifetime? She said, instead of taking the joy, I took the fear with me. When we die, we take our stuff with us.
Right.
So, an example of hell. Real great example. Somebody dies, right, and they're alcoholic. They have to have the drink. Well, when you die, you drop your physical form. You don't have that form. You have an astral body, what we call, an ethereal body.
Yes.
So, that person that dies still has the need for the alcohol. That creates tremendous suffering because there's no way to have that satisfaction. That soul then hovers around these bars and other people in order to get that satisfaction.
That seems so sad that we can't just all cross over and move on, but I know that supposedly happens.
Yeah, that's the journey. That's part of the journey. If people knew if they shot somebody, or they're greedy, or they do this stuff, they're going to have it on the other side. You play back all the stuff that you've done, and you feel the suffering that you did to other people. Then you take another body. That's where the karma comes in, and you're going to have to pay your dues. People knew that. God knows exactly what's happening. You wouldn't do that stuff.
How come in the Eastern philosophies, they believe in reincarnation? How come in the Western philosophies, people are waking up to it. I shouldn't say waking up because that's my thought. It doesn't mean it's theirs. How come they're slower here to accept that? I mean, to me, it just makes sense.
Oh, yeah, because you're old.
Because no, I've always believed this. Even when I
Yeah,
was
just
young.
because you're old soul. They're young.
Yeah. Oh, I think you said it because
Old soul. You're an old soul.
old soul. I think I was an old
No,
person.
no.
That's why I said I believed it when I was younger too.
They're young souls. So up there, they have to play back everything that's happened.
Now, does it mean you're an older soul because you've had many incarnations, or does it mean you're an older soul because the lives you've lived, you've wanted to progress spiritually, or
Doesn't. Yeah,
doesn't really
both.
matter?
I mean, you know, it's an interesting thing about past lives. I had a woman come to me, and I don't do much past lives because it's past lives. You know, it's like, so what? But I do it.
Yeah.
But interesting thing, I did have a woman come to me who had a past life and she was burnt at the stake. Trauma. And she's psychic. But she's afraid now. She won't understand, well, how come I can't put that stuff out there? Well, because you were burnt. So what we did, we went back to that time, changed the scenery. Because the mind is like a film. You change the film, you change you change the journey.
I've heard you could do that. Yeah.
You can do that.
I heard you could do that. I forget which book I read, but you could do that in this life. Like if you want to go back, like even 10 years ago and something bad happened, you play it back in your mind and make it good, and it really changes the whole thing. I would say, in a way, it is good to go to past lives. I have a friend that does phobias now. So let's say I have a phobia and I can't figure out why am I afraid to do this. I have no reason, and then she takes me back and I found out I died drowning or something. I think it does move a person on, so I think it has its place.
Sure. Oh,
really
yeah,
has.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to add? This has been really fascinating.
About past lives, you mean? Or?
About anything. Anything on spiritual growth and love and...
Wow.
There's so much to talk about. Now, you've been on radio, on television, on...
Montana, I did a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I would go there and people want to know about their guides. So I'd see their guides. You know, interesting thing, I did a thing on... I have to tell you a funny story, because I used to do a lot with spirit guides. And I remember we did this psychic fair in Montana, and people wanted to come by and they'd see me because they knew I would get in touch with people's guides. So this woman comes there, and her guide shows up as Humpty Dumpty.
Did you see a picture?
Yeah. I saw. There's Humpty Dumpty.
That is funny.
He had little shorts and suspenders on, and it's shaped like an egg, and it's on the wall, right?
Yeah. That's her spirit.
And I said, I never forgot that. And the guide said, well,
yeah, I'm
your guide is teaching you balance.
Oh,
and I don't remember what went on with that.
Getting it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember doing a class. One time this happened where the mother and daughter who weren't communicating got the same guide and taught them teaching them how to reconnect. So guides, you know, guides are, you connect to a guide often where your energy is. So guides are very close to our earth plane.
Were they people that have crossed over already?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they were physical at one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones I've got.
Could they be related to you?
Can be, yeah. So the way to get to guides, the first thing that has to happen is your mind has to be in abeyance. Not so strong. So the way to do that is to get relaxed.
Meditation.
Well, I could not meditate. Meditation is really hard for me. I mean, I do it, but it was hard. Hypnosis is the thing that works.
You can do self-hypnosis.
You can do self-hypnosis.
Well, whatever works for you, because I think I can meditate.
Yeah, if you meditate, you can get yourself relaxed. That's the key. So when you're relaxed, then the vibration begins to shift.
Yes.
And then when you shift, then you're getting more in harmony with the frequency of where the guides are.
You mean like your brainwave changing from beta to alpha and so on?
Got it. You got it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And also, I heard that you can have more than one guide, and they come and go. They don't. The same guides don't stay with you. Are we all born with one specific guide, though, or how do we know? Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they get. When I had Native American guides, they left after a while because I learned whatever I needed to learn from that particular energy.
Yeah.
And some people will go to. You know, I've gotten people when I've done readings with people that their frequency is beyond where the guides are.
Oh,
their frequencies are above that, so they connect with energy.
What's the best way to, yes, what's the best way to raise your frequency? Which is, you become more and more spiritual as you raise your frequency, right? Because we're three-dimensional, we're physical, we're really low frequency, but you can bring it up. I felt that maybe meditating is one way to do it, or self-hypnosis, or doing spiritual work, you know, becoming love.
Yeah, you know, the whole key is letting go. I mean, geez, letting go of the false. Start to honor yourself. Forget, you know, I'll ask people, I say, well, like the inner child stuff, for example. And I get to the point of where they meet their child verbally, verbally have them meet their child. And I say, well, they need to know what the child wants for them or needs from them. Once they get it,
they actually communicate with the inner child.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Then there are ways to do it. And I'll also bring up, there are two ways to do it. One, I'll tell people, I said, or people, and this is with the child and also the stuff that they're finally letting go. I say, well, what does forgiveness mean? Oh, it means, it's not about forgiving someone, it's about forgiving yourself. Well, what does it mean? It means letting go.
Yes.
When you forgive, you can't be a victim, right? There's no victim.
That makes sense.
So it's like massaging a muscle. When that false self comes in, because the thought, the mind is there, it's like you've had it for so long, it's ingrained. So it's like when you catch it, it's like massaging a muscle. Then you say, then you can tell the child, go ahead, you know, do X, whatever you need to do, and then, so then pretty soon, you get that thought doesn't even materialize because now you've gotten rid of it.
Yeah, we can do that. Our mind is
we can do that. So there are ways. There's simple ways to do this
we
stuff.
just have to be aware. It's a matter of awareness. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Awareness. It's like step out of the box. Watch yourself. So I go to this party, right? I go to this party. I'm feeling great. And then I leave 4 hours later, I'm feeling, you know, anxious, or I'm feeling not...
You picked up somebody's energy.
So what I did, I said, well, when did this start? So somebody lit up a joint.
Uh-oh.
It shifted my frequency.
Back to...
It got me irritated. It doesn't work for me. Now, I'm not making a judgment. You know, some people smoke.
Yeah.
But be aware if something shifts. If you're an... When did you get it? Is this your thoughts, or is it somebody else's?
Empaths are hard. I interviewed,
You've done them, right?
No, I'm not an empath myself. I'm empathetic. I'm not an empath, but I interviewed an empath, and it was hard, really hard. This has been so much fun.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Before you go, you teach, and you also have clients?
I sometimes have clients here. Sometimes I can do phone clients. I have an office in Salem. Sometimes I do readings here at New Renaissance. I teach classes here.
Yeah,
I do classes, psychic fairs, and my website will tell you all the events that I'm.
We'll get your website. Yeah, that'll be. We show it while we're doing the interview, so all your information's out there as we talk. So that'll be great. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to add before we? I mean, it's been fun and interesting.
Wherever your journey is, try to understand your purpose. Why this is going on.
Don't get discouraged. Don't be upset. Right? You know, just know that everything's okay. I heard Oprah say that one time. I forget, because you know she's into the spiritual things, and she said, "Everything's okay." Yeah, and I love it. Everything's okay, folks, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
Robert. Sorry I murdered your last name. Mine's Nortness, so you can have fun with it later. Okay. Thanks, folks, for watching Pauline Interviews. Stay tuned. There'll be more to come. Thank you.